So I got one of these Husqvarna leaf blowers. It's the 170 BT, and it's hard to start. It's old. I bought it in 2009, and the other day I was using it, and I started it. I thought it was fine, and then all of a sudden it started leaking gas, and I couldn't figure out where it was leaking gas. All I noticed was my pants and my shirt started getting soaked with gasoline. So then I looked at it, I started it, and it wasn't leaking any gas, so I thought it was fine. But if you pick it up, you jostle it a little bit, you'll start to notice some gas on top of the fuel tank. So I figured it can't be the fuel tank, it has a crack in it. But I started looking more into it after I picked it up and shook it a little bit. And I started noticing the fuel, or the gas, on top of the gas tank. It was right here. And I couldn't figure out if it was the primer button leaking, or if it was the fuel lines leaking. But this is what I did to fix it. So the first thing I thought I'd change out was the fuel lines. So I started with needle nose pliers. I put them on the little clamp there. I lowered the clamp. Once I got the clamp down, then I was able to pull the hose off. And then I pulled the other hose, the smaller one, off. I used the needle nose pliers to help. I wasn't worried about damaging it because I was going to replace it. And I used a flathead screwdriver. Sorry, bad camera angle. And I popped the little black bushing out and pulled the fuel filter out. And I bought this at Home Depot. This isn't what I used. I was thinking about using it, but instead I went to a Husqvarna shop and I ended up buying this instead. So I ended up putting a new fuel filter on, and this new fuel filter was hard to push on. Yeah, it's a little hard getting that fuel line on that fuel filter. So I found a trick, and here's what I ended up doing. I ended up using some of the synthetic oil that you mix in with your gas, your fuel for the leaf blower, and I actually dunked just a little bit on the end of the fuel filter, and then I end up pushing it on, and you'll see how much easier this just goes on. See, just slides right on. Hopefully it doesn't slide off, but that does work if you're having trouble. And then I went back and I put the fuel filter in with the black hose, put the yellow hose in, and put the black bushing in. Use the screwdriver to help push it down. And once it was fully seated down, and I started hooking up the hoses, I put the thinner black hose in the back, pushed it on, and then the yellow thicker hose in the front that has the clamp. I pushed it on and I raised up the clamp. Now these hoses were left a little long. The guy at the Husqvarna shop told me that I could cut them if I needed to, but they weren't crimped at all, so I figured I'd leave them long. And then I put some fuel in. Yeah, I didn't put a ton in, I just put a little bit in just so that I could start it and test it out, make sure it works and it wasn't leaking any more fuel. And so then I went to prime it. I primed it a lot since I figured the fuel lines were very dry, and it started right up, 2 pulls. And so I put the backpack blower on, and it wasn't leaking fuel at all. So that was the fix for this Husqvarna leaf blower. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. It's free to do so. You won't get any junk emails. It'll just make it easier for you to find my videos when you're on YouTube. And leave a comment on what you liked or what you didn't like, or what you'd like to see me work on next. Thanks again for watching.